Alright, Shalom. What's good, people? What's good, family and friends? Once again, I'm your host, Shabar Judah, Israel, bringing forth another wonderful lesson on today. And the topic of discussion for today, family and friends, will be the Israelite strangers of the land, okay? Israelite strangers of the land. I just chose this cover right here. I have chosen this cover to illustrate Israelite strangers of the land. We know that the Hebrew Israelites, they are colored people, or what you call black people, the people of Negroid and Indian descent today. And we're going to go into the Bible, and we're just going to discuss strangers of the land, because in certain areas in the Bible, it talks about strangers. And we know that that strangers is foreigners, or what you call alienated people. But we need to be able to go into the Bible to detect what strangers is it talking about, because we have two different types of strangers. We have Israelite strangers, and we also have the biological strangers, such as the heathen. What I'm saying is this right here. Let me pull this up. Okay, guys, hope you can see this. I'm going to expand it just a little so you can see it. So we have 18 nations total in the earth. These are all the nationality of people today in the earth. Okay. Now, number one is what you call the nation of Israel, the chosen people, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. From 2 to 18 are known as strangers, or Gentiles, or heathens. But however, keep in mind, even though from 2 to 18 in the red box are classified as heathens or Gentiles, Israelites can also be classified as strangers as well, or Gentiles, because there are two different types of Gentiles. So, yes, guys, the Israelites, which are the chosen people, number one, can also be classified at times in the Bible as Gentiles and strangers. And this is what I want to discuss. Topic of discussion today is the Israelite strangers in the land. So you can be able to go into your Bible and you can detect what strangers certain passages is talking about. Certain book, chapter, and verses in the Bible is talking about. You can be able to differentiate the Israelite strangers, whether it's talking about an Israelite stranger or whether it's talking about a biological heathen. All right? Such as a foreigner. So, dealing with Israelite strangers in the land, we're going to begin with Proverbs 5th chapter. So you will need a King James Holy Bible for this lesson. Also you will need pencils, pens, composition book to take notes. So we are in the King James Bible, that is KJV. All right, that's what I recommend, guys. Let's start on Proverbs 5:1. It says, "My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow down ear to my understanding." Proverbs 5:2, "That thou may regard discretion," or discretion, "and that thy lips may keep knowledge," because that's what our lips are supposed to keep. Proverbs 5:3, "For the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil." Now, Proverbs 5:3. Is this strange woman talking about a biological heathen, such as a non-Israelite person, or is this strange woman right here talking about an Israelite foreigner, or what you call an Israelite stranger? Once again, the question is Proverbs 5:3. Concerning the strange woman, is this a biological strange woman, such as a biological heathen or Gentile, or is this a strange woman such as an Israelite foreigner? Okay, let's find out, guys. Let's find out. Proverbs 5:3. "For the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil." Okay, so Let's go into the tools, the interlinear, strange. So when you see strange in the Hebrew 2114, or some may say Hebrew 2114.
Strong's H2114. Zur. Zur.
It says zur, or some may say zawar. So let's go into it. To discover the strange woman. All right. To be strange, to be a stranger, to become estranged, strange, another, stranger, foreigner, an enemy. Okay. Loathsome, a breath particle, strange woman, prostitute, harlot. Because that's what also a strange woman can be counted as, a prostitute or a harlot, a whore. And then it says to be estranged and so forth. To be a stranger, to be one alienated. All right. So, concerning Proverbs 5 and 3, this strange woman is talking about an Israelite woman, but it labeled her to be strange because she's not in the region of being virtuous, or she's not in the region, she's not in a virtuous area. She's not in a benevolent, upright area that a woman's supposed to fulfill. So she is labeled to be strange. She's a strange woman, because a strange woman is a woman that is alienated to being virtuous. So, such as an upright woman would be a common woman. A strange woman would be a harlot or a whore, tramp, prostitute, or bitch. That's what a strange woman would be labeled to, compared to a virtuous, upright woman. But this woman in general is an Israelite woman, guys. So Proverbs 5 and 3, it talks about that strange woman. Okay? And that's an Israelite woman not keeping the laws. And we will show you that. That's an Israelite woman not keeping the laws. How do we know that? We will show you. Let's go to Proverbs 2 and 16. Because that strange woman in Proverbs 5 and 3, that's not a biological heathen woman, such as a white woman, a Chinese woman, Japanese woman, East Indian woman, African woman. No, that's not a heathen woman. That's an Israelite woman, which would be labeled today as a black, Hispanic, and Native American woman. That's an Israelite woman, but she was counted to be strange because she was not operating in the region of being virtuous. She was playing the role of a harlot. And any woman out here, any Israelite woman that is not walking upright and playing a role or fulfilling a role as a virtuous woman is counted to be strange in terms of a bitch. So Proverbs 2 and 16. Let's go to that precept right here. Proverbs 2 and 16. We will go back to Proverbs 5 and 3. Proverbs 2 and 16. It says, to deliver thee from the strange woman. See, from the stranger with flattereth her words. So this is Proverbs 2 and 16. All right. To deliver thee from a strange woman. Now that's an Israelite woman, guys. To deliver thee from a strange woman, even from the stranger with flattering words. That's an Israelite woman. Verse 17, Proverbs 2 and 17. Which forsaketh the God of her youth. She forsaketh the guide of her youth. She forsaketh the guide of her youth and forgetteth the covenant of her God. So that lets you know right there that's an Israelite woman. Why? Because who was given the covenants? The Israelites. So Proverbs 2 and 17 says, which forsaketh the guide of her youth. That means from her youth, she didn't walk in the law. She didn't walk in the covenant that was given to her by God. Now, question, guys. Question. There be many nations upon the lands today. There are many different people. Chinese, which are Moabites. Japanese, which are Ammonites. Hamites, which are Africans. Elamites, which are East Indians. And so forth. Israelites, which are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Concerning the table of nations, there are many nations upon the earth today. As you can see here. concerning the table of nations, there are many nations upon the earth today. In total, there are 18 nations. But out of all these nations, who was given the covenants of the Lord? Was it the white man? Was it the Edomites? Was it the East Indians, which are the Elamites? Was it the Assyrians, which is Asherites? Was it the Syrians, Aramites, Arabs, Ishmaelites, Chinese, Moabites, Japanese, Ammonites, and down and so forth? To wrap it up in a nutshell, what nation upon the earth was given God covenants? It was not no one in the red box. It was neither of these nations in the red box. It was the Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. So when we go back to Proverbs concerning chapter 2, verse 16, when it talks about this strange woman, we know that strange woman in Proverbs 2 and 16 is not pointing towards a biological heathen woman, which would be labeled as of a white woman or East Indian woman or Arab woman, Chinese woman, Japanese woman, African woman. Basically, any woman considered to be in the red box, which is known as heathens, we know that cannot be talking about that woman. That has to be talking about an Israelite woman. You know why? Because in Proverbs 2 and 16, it talks about this strange woman using flattering words. And then Proverbs 2 and 17, it goes into that same woman, that strange woman that used these flattering words. It says that she forsook the guide of her youth and she forgot about the covenant. So automatically that lets you know that this had to be an Israelite woman, which would be a black, Hispanic, or Native American woman today. Because it kills the whole thing in Proverbs 2 and 17 when it mentions her forgetting the covenant. Let me show you who the covenant was given to, guys. The covenant was only given to the nation of Israel, number one. So all these other nations in the earth didn't receive God's covenant because they're not God's chosen people. All right? But if you receive the covenants, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites, you are the chosen. And we know that they did receive the covenants. So let me give you the precept of that. This is Psalm 78, verse 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob. Jacob is another word for Israel. Jacob's name was changed to Israel in the Hebrew, Yasha'Allah, Prince of Powers, Prince of the Powers. So the Most High, when it says he, it's talking about the Most High. He established a testimony in Jacob and appointed. That means he appointed. That means he applied. Okay, he applied, he appointed a law in Israel. That means he established, he initiated, he formulated, he appointed a law in Israel. So all these other nations, he did not appoint a law in. That means that he did not apply a law to all these other nations in the earth. The only nation in the earth that the Most High ever appointed, applied, what you would call initiated a law to was the chosen, the Israelites, which is number one, which are blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans of today. That's what made you a special people. Psalm 78 and 5. He appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that they should make them known to their children. So if you are black, Hispanic, Native American descent, and you have children, you are to teach your children these laws because you are the chosen people. That's why also we can see in Psalms, we can see in the book of Psalms, let's see what chapter. Psalms 33, verse 12. Blessed is the nation who God is the Lord. And that nation is, out of all these nations of people of today, out of all these different nationality of people, that nation will be number one, the Israelites, guys. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, whose God is the master, whose God is the chaperone, whose God is the director, and the people whom he had chosen for his own inheritance. And the people that the Most High chose was the Israelites, not all these other nationalities of people in the earth today. So don't get caught up. Remember this, because we have many conniving, mischievous denominations and religions out here in the earth that is misleading, that are misleading a lot of people. You have a church out here called All Nations Church. You have these denominations out here, all these false denominations and religions that was put out by the Vatican City. Don't be deceived by that, because we're giving you the truth. So this is how you know if you still continuing to go to church, if you still caught up in religion, if you still following denominations. All of that is fake. All of that is fraud. We giving you the truth. We letting you know there has always been a chosen people for the Lord's inheritance, and that's the nation of Israel, who was given the law. That's what made them a blessed nation. That's why I say in Psalms 33:12, blessed is the nation who God is the Lord. Because the nation that was blessed was the nation of Israel. What made them a blessed nation? They was given the commandments. They was given the covenants. All right? I can go into many book, chapter, and verses to explain this, but we don't need to do that. So let's go back to the Israelite stranger. So in Proverbs 2:16, it talks about this strange woman. So you should know that this strange woman in Proverbs 2:16 can't be a Japanese, can't be a Chinese woman, can't be a white woman, can't be an East Indian woman, can't be an Arab woman, can't be an African woman. This strange woman is an Israelite woman, which would be considered a black, so-called Negro, Hispanic, Native American woman of today. She is the one in Proverbs chapter 2. That strange woman, 2:16. Also Proverbs 2:17. She is the one that did what? Forsook the God of her youth and forgot the covenant of her God. Now you tell me what other nation that God ever applied his covenant, gave his covenant to in the Bible. This is letting you know right now we can kill this. We can kill this discussion. This strange woman in Proverbs 2 is a Hebrew Israelite, and also the strange woman in Proverbs 5 is a Hebrew Israelite, guys. She didn't subscribe to the covenants. She forgot the covenants. It tells you that in Proverbs 2:17. Now let's go to Romans 9:4. Romans 9:4. I'm giving you revelation and free game. Please write these verses down and share it with your family and friends. Romans 9:4. Who are Israelites? So it's going to tell you the Israelites. It's going to tell you the perks as far as to the nation of Israel. Who are Israelites? The Israelites pertain to adoption. The Israelites pertain to glory. The Israelites pertain to covenants and the giving of the law. Because the law was given to the Israelites in the service of God, which is talking about the Levitical priesthood and the promises. All this stuff, these are the perks that is applied to the Israelites. If you're Israelites, these are all your perks. Okay? So the Israelites the covenants pertains to the Israelites. The covenants, Romans 9:4. So when we go back to Proverbs 2:17, that same strange woman forgot about the covenants of her God. So is this a heathen woman? Is this a white woman? Is this a Chinese woman? Is this a Japanese woman? Is this an Arab woman? East Indian woman? Hell no. This is an Israelite woman. All right, guys. Let's go back to Proverbs chapter 5. This is why the topic of discussion of today dealing with Israelite strangers in the land. Because when you come across the word stranger in the Bible, don't think just because when you come across the word stranger in the Bible, the stranger is talking about other nations. Because we have also Israelite strangers as well. And you got to be able to go in there and detect to see what stranger is it talking about. So let's go back to Proverbs 5. Revelation, the free game. It don't cost you nothing, guys, to pay attention. Proverbs 5:3. For the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. Proverbs 5:4. But her end is bitter as a wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. All right? And that's an Israelite woman, guys. Now we're going to continue on just dealing with Israelite strangers. So let's go down to verse 20 of Proverbs chapter 5 once again. It says, why wilt thou, my son, be ravaged with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? That woman is talking about an Israelite woman. But remember what I said previously, she's considered to be a strange woman. Why? Because she's not walking in the community of being virtuous. Okay? She's not walking in the community of being virtuous. She's not playing the role of a virtuous woman. And so she's counted as a strange woman because she's not playing the role as being virtuous. She's still an Israelite woman. All right? I can show y'all this, guys. So it says, and why would thou, my son, be ravaged with a strange woman and embrace the bosom of a stranger? This is not talking about a heathen woman here. Let's go into the tools and let's scroll down. All right? And let's look at the concordance number for strange. Strange woman. Why would thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman and embrace the bosom of a stranger? So that is Proverbs 5 and 20. Let's look at stranger here. Okay, let's look up stranger there, which is Hebrew 5,237, or you could say Hebrew 5237. All right.
Strong's H 5237. Nochri. Nochri.
So let's go into that 5237. All right, Nochri. Let's go into that and go down. A foreign, alien, foreigner, foreign woman, a harlot. See? So just because this talking about a stranger in Proverbs 5 and 20, it's not talking about basically a non-Israelite woman, because a lot of brothers believe, oh, this got to be talking about a white woman. This got to be talking about an Israelite brother getting with a white woman, or this got to be talking about an Israelite brother that's getting with a Chinese, Japanese, basically any woman that is categorized in the red box. Some Israelite brothers believe that that's talking about an Israelite, which is number one, going and getting with a woman in the red box, but it's not. That's talking about an Israelite woman. She just labeled to be strange because she's not fulfilling the role of being virtuous. It's like, okay, how should I say this? Concerning Proverbs 5 and 20, when it mentions this strange woman. How should I put this? All right, let's say I'm going to stimulate your mind for a second. So let's go, I'm going to go to Google. Let me go to Google right quick. Hold on, guys, if you will. Just follow me. Follow me, if you will. Just relax. I'm going to Google, right? I'm going to type in Burger King. Let's type in Burger King coworker. So what I'm doing is typing in a Burger King coworker, guys. A Burger King coworker. I'm pulling it up, Burger King. Burger King. I should have put Burger King. It's all good. We're going to have fun today. A Burger King coworker. Okay, let's say you're a coworker at Burger King, right? Let's say you're a coworker. I don't even know who this sister is, but I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot. I'm just trying to use illustration. So guess what? If you're a Burger King coworker, right? And let's say you got a Burger King coworker and you have a Captain D's coworker. Captain D's coworker. Captain D's co-worker, because I like to use analogies to state my claim. So you see right here, check this out, guys. I shouldn't even have to go into this, but I'm doing it for your sake. So if you work at Captain D's, right, that means that you are a co-worker. You are You are an employee. You are a Captain D's employee. And let's say you work at Burger King. That means you are a Burger King co-worker. That means you are a Burger King employee. So you was employed. The employer employed you. So if you wanted a job at Burger King and you was interviewed, you got the job, you become a Burger King co-worker. Same thing here for Captain D's. Now, what makes a Burger King co-worker stranger is when he go over to Captain D's, go inside of Captain D's with his Burger King uniform. He's gonna be a stranger to the co-workers of Captain D's. Now, like I said, if like Captain D's co-workers, if they go over to Burger King with their Captain D's uniform, they're gonna be strangers to the co-workers of Burger King. Because what's going on, even though they the same nation of people, you can see here, they the same nation of people. All these are Israelites, because the so-called Negroes, the niggers today, is the Judites. They the same people from the same tribe. As you can see, Israelite guy right here, Israelite man and woman right here. They the same nation of people from the same tribe. But what makes them strangers? What makes them strangers is they are fulfilling two different positions. You feel me? They are fulfilling two different areas. Burger King serves burgers and fries. Captain D serves seafood. Even though they're the same people, they are fulfilling two different offices. You see that? So I hope I kind of pretty much summed it up for Proverbs 5 and 20. That's why that Israelite woman, she was counted as a stranger in Proverbs 5 and 20. Why? Because she was not fulfilling the role of being a virtuous, benevolent, upright woman. Okay? And that's why she was considered a stranger. You see that? Same thing apply here, guys. So let's take this for example. You already know who this is. Singer. This artist Maya, back in the day, has awakened. So all praises to this sister. But anyways, like if a Hebrew woman is dressing this way, right? She's dressing this way, Hebrew woman, being virtuous, walking in her calling, dressing the way the Bible tells her to dress, in modest apparel. You know, Hebrew woman dressing this way. As you can see, all these virtuous women, these Hebrew women, keeping the commandments and, you know, following the Most High God and being virtuous, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just showing you different illustrations of what's going on. You got Hebrew sisters dressing this way, right? Now watch this, guys. Hebrew sisters dressing this way. Well, that's probably Edomite. I don't know about her, but you get the picture. All right, we got Hebrew sisters dressing this way. And then, all of a sudden, another Hebrew Israelite sister come on the scene looking this way. Now, would she not be, concerning Proverbs 5 and 20, would she not be considered a stranger? That don't mean that she a biological stranger woman, such as a white woman or outside Israelite woman. But I'm just trying to show you. If you got women dressing like this in the Hebrew community, right? Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, walking upright. You got women dressing like this, and then other women come along like this. Will she not be considered a stranger? Will she not be considered a stranger to these virtuous women, to these upright, benevolent women? You think about that, man. You see, so the Bible, you got to know in certain passages of the Bible, they use strangers in diverse ways. These are strangers, man. Even though they Israelite women, they are strangers compared to these women here. Do you get what I'm saying, guys, before we move on? So yes, women like these, They are strangers. You know why? Because they not walking in that community of keeping the commandments and being upright and virtuous. They not walking in that community. You know what I'm saying? So I hope I kind of made sense to you guys to show you that when you come across a woman in the Bible being a stranger, it's not always pointing towards the nations in the red box, because it could be an Israelite woman that's just not fulfilling her office. You feel me? So I hope that made sense. Okay? Now, Proverbs 5 and 20. Proverbs 5 and 20. It says of a stranger, that last part. So let's look at 52:37. Because Proverbs 5 and 20 says, why would thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, to embrace the bosom of a stranger? And stranger, we showing you in Hebrews 5 and 20, Hebrews 52:37 in the concordance, stranger is what? In this case, a foreign woman, basically a harlot. Or it could be known as unknown or unfamiliar, because, like I said, if you dressing like this as a Hebrew woman and keeping the laws and statutes and commandments, being virtuous, this is unfamiliar to you. You feel me? That's unfamiliar to you. That's strange to you. See that? So this doesn't mean this doesn't mean in Proverbs 5 and 20 that the strange woman here is a Gentile, biological heathen woman, such as a white woman, an African woman, Chinese, Japanese woman. So, yeah, let's move on, guys. So let's scroll down to Jeremiah 2 and 21, because the topic of discussion, guys, is once again Israelite strangers in the land. Jeremiah 2 and 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, holy, a right seed. How then art thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? So the Most High is telling Israel here through the prophet Jeremiah that he civilized us in the beginning. We was a civilized people. Okay, so we were civilized. I planted thee a noble vine. Basically, I gave you guys the law, statutes, and commandments. And I chose you. I chose you as the appointed nation, as the chosen people. Holy, a right seed. Gave you the commandments, civilized you, made you upright. And then later on down the line, how then are the same people that I made I civilized, how then you are turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine? So that's like the Most High made us upright, our woman and man. Okay, he made our woman and man upright. Gave us the law, statutes, commandments, gave us his policies, made us upright. And then he said, later on down the line, we turned into a degenerate plant. What does that mean? We don't no longer look like this anymore. Our woman don't no longer look like this anymore. Our woman has turned into a degenerate plant. That means something strange. You feel me? So this is what we're doing now. And also the man, gang banging and slanging and selling dope and so forth. That's why it says, of a strange vine unto me. See, you can have Israelite strangers. See, an Israelite stranger can also be counted as an Israelite woman or Israelite man that became strangers to the covenants. They became a stranger to the covenants. And I'm going to show you this. They was upright men and upright women in the beginning, but when they turned and started doing wickedly, they became strangers to the Most High. And also strangers to other Israelite men and women that kept on with righteousness, that kept on and decided to pursue righteousness. The Israelite woman and man that fell off from there, they became strangers to the men and women that continued on in the righteousness. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So now, yes, we are a lot of strangers today. You know what I'm saying? Our Israelite woman is doing this today. They are strangers today. But that don't mean that they are strangers biologically concerning the man and woman in the red box. You feel me? So we are a strange vine. And we got to get back to being civilized because we have become primitive people. You see? Now let me show you something. I'm going to go back to Jeremiah 2:21. Watch this. I'm going to show you something. Listen to this, guys. Ephesians 2:11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles. See, so there are two different types of Gentiles. Like I was stating, you can be a biological Gentile, which is a non-Israelite person in the red box. And you can also be an Israelite Gentile that decides to stop following your covenants and commandments and fall after the ones in the red box, making yourself a Gentile. Making yourself a Gentile through philosophy and tradition. Because we know if you're an Israelite, a biological Israelite by blood, there is no way you can be a national Gentile. But you can follow after the ones in the red box and take upon their customs and philosophies and make yourself a Gentile by philosophy's sake. You feel me? And so this is what a lot of Israelites did when they stopped keeping the covenants. We showed you about that strange Israelite woman in Proverbs that, you know, she didn't stay in the covenants. You see that? So Ephesians 2:11, wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles. This is talking about awakened brothers and sisters now in the truth. So you can tell this sister right here, remember in time past, you was Gentiles, not a biological Gentile, but you could tell these sisters here, remember in time past, you was acting as a Gentile. You had took upon Gentile mentality. In time past, you was this. Acting as the biological Gentiles and following them. In time past, you women was this in time past. You feel me? In time past, you women was this. Not this Edomite, forget this Edomite woman, but like this. In time past, that's what you woman was on, man. And also you brothers. See, for the brothers. In time past. You brothers was like this in time past. You brothers was like this in time past. You woman was like this in time past. Not this Edomite woman, forget that. We focusing on blacks, Hispanics, and Native American women. You woman was like this in time past, man. You woman was like this in time past, man. You black, Hispanic, and Native American woman were like this in times past. You black, Hispanic, and Native American man were like this in times past. This is talking about awakened Israelites that have awakened into the truth. You realize you was like this in time past. So Ephesians 2:11 said, being in time past Gentiles, you was not an actual biological blood Gentile. You acted as the biological Gentiles because you followed what they did in the flesh. You was in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision. So when you ain't keeping the law, statutes, and commandments as a Hebrew Israelite, according to the flesh, you are uncircumcised. So basically, this figuratively would be an uncircumcised Israelite woman. This figuratively would be an uncircumcised Israelite man. You feel me? So you was uncircumcised because you was in the flesh, Ephesians 2:11. This is a Hebrew woman keeping the law, statutes, and commandments and righteousness. This is a Hebrew woman in the flesh. This is a Hebrew man keeping the law, statutes, and commandments and righteousness. This is a Hebrew man in the flesh, uncircumcised, figuratively. Feel me? Uncircumcised by that which is called circumcision in the flesh made by hands. Ephesians 2:12, that at that time ye were without Christ. Hebrew men, at that time you was without Christ. You didn't know the truth. You didn't know your nationality as a Hebrew Israelite. You didn't know the law, statutes, and commandments that you're supposed to keep God's feast days and Sabbath days, holy days, and worship the Father in spirit and truth. Back in times, you didn't know that Hebrew Israelite men. Black, Hispanic, and Native American man. Back then, you Hebrew Israelite woman, you didn't know that you were supposed to keep the law, statutes, and commandments and keep these feast days and so forth. Back then, you didn't know that. That's why it says that at that time you were without Christ, you was being aliens from the commonwealth. So so when you come across stranger in the Bible, guys, when you come across strangers in the Bible, yes, there were many Israelite strangers. There was many Black, Hispanic, and Native American strangers, which are the nation of Israel today. You can't just apply strangers to the ones in the red box and say the only strangers of the Bible is non-Israelite people, because that's not true. Automatically, if you're an Israelite and you follow after the ones in the red box, back in the day, you was a stranger. So guess what? If you was a Hebrew Israelite woman or a Hebrew Israelite man in the beginning that kept God's commandments in the beginning, and you strayed off from keeping God's commandments and started slanging and banging and doing all this other stuff, you became a stranger. If you was a Hebrew Israelite woman in the beginning that kept God's commandments and you strayed away from the commonwealth, you became a stranger. You still a Hebrew Israelite, but you strange now. You strange to the righteous order. You strange to the law, statutes, and commandments. You a stranger because you wicked as hell. You a stranger to righteousness. If you wicked as hell, you a stranger to righteousness. If you wicked as hell, you a stranger to righteousness. See, you weren't a stranger in the beginning because it was the commonwealth for you brothers and sisters. You weren't strangers in the beginning. But when you strayed from this, guys, when you strayed from this and you went over here to this right here, and you went over here to this, you became strangers. Strangers from the covenants, because you didn't continue in the covenant of the promise. Having no hope. You was out here shaking your ass, selling your ass for a piece of cash, didn't have no hope. You was out here gang banging and slanging, killing your own brothers and sisters up, selling dope to your own people, killing your own community up. You was have no hope and were without God in the world. Ephesians 2:13. But now, this is talking about awakened Israelite brothers and sisters that don't no longer do that stuff out there in the street. But now, in Christ, Yahushua, ye who sometime were far off are made near by the blood of Christ. So these brothers and sisters in the beginning, you know what I'm saying, they was straight, and then eventually they went far off. These brothers and sisters in the beginning, they were straight, but eventually they went far off. It says that you was far off, Ephesians 2:13, but now you're not like that anymore. Now you have returned to the covenants. Now, brothers and sisters, you have returned to the covenants. You see? You have returned. Ephesians 2:13, but now in Christ, Yahushua, you were sometime far off, you are made near by the blood. You see? So yeah, you damn right. You were strangers when you strayed away from the covenants. Ephesians 2:12 is telling you that at the time you were without Christ, you was aliens. Without Christ is to be without the commandments, because Christ was the commandments. He was basically he was the law. He was the law with legs. He was basically the Messiah came to show others on how to apply the law in their lives. So when you was without Christ, you was without the law. And automatically, brothers and sisters, when you without Christ, when you without the law, automatically you are aliens. You become an alien. You become this. This is what we're trying to tell you. You become this, man. All of this, what you see here, is nothing but Hebrew Israelites, but they are strangers to the covenants. They are aliens to the covenant. All this that you see here. All this that you see here, these guys, they are Israelites, but they are aliens to the covenants because they strayed away. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Aliens to the covenants because they strayed away. But when you stop all this bullshit here and you clean your life up and you return back to the covenants, you're no longer considered a Hebrew Israelite man stranger or a Hebrew Israelite woman stranger. You see that? So I want you to know, when you come to stranger in the Bible, when you come to the word stranger in the Bible, it don't only denote a non-Israelite nation of people. It can be an Israelite man or woman that strayed away from the covenants. keep that in mind, guys. See that? This is what we're trying to show you. Ephesians, watch this. Let's go ahead and cut to the chase. Ephesians 2:12. That at the time you was without Christ, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. So who is this talking about? These strangers right here, these Gentiles in time past, according to Ephesians 2:11, the uncircumcision, according to Ephesians 2:11, the ones in the flesh, according to Ephesians 2:11, Ephesians 2:12, the ones without Christ, according to Ephesians 2:12, the ones being aliens from the commonwealth, Ephesians 2:12, is of Israel, Israelites. That's when it says, and of strangers from the covenants and promises. So the only strangers in the Bible are not the non-Israelite people. You had Israelite people in the Bible that became strangers because they decided to separate from the commonwealth of the nation of Israel. And they became what you call Israelite foreigners, who the New Testament better yet described as Gentiles, the same people who Peter and Paul were sent to teach. The same people Peter and Paul were sent to teach. So when you come across strangers in the Bible, it's not only referring to a non-Israelite people, especially in the New Testament. All these Israelite foreigners and strangers in the New Testament was Jews, was Israelites. But they were strangers in the land because they did not apply the covenant. They separated from the commonwealth of Israel. And I pretty much don't showed you enough to state my claim. The Christian church is not going to illustrate this. They're not going to explain this to you. You're not going to be able to apply this in your life if you continue to follow religion. This is what I'm telling you guys. So now let's go back. We about to close this lesson on the behalf of Solid Foundation, Israelite Academy. Thank you for your time, brothers and sisters. This lesson is coming to a foreclosure. So let's go back to Jeremiah and let's look at 2:22. This is the lesson for the day. We will review this lesson as soon as this closing take place. Jeremiah, I believe Jeremiah 2:22. But let's go to 21. Okay, guys. So Jeremiah 2:21. Yeah, I have planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. The Most High civilized us in the beginning by giving us what? The law, statutes, and commandments. Jeremiah 2:21 also says, how then art thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? Basically, Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, how in the hell are you going to separate from the law, statutes, and commandments and make yourself a stranger now? You see that? That's what it's talking about, guys. That's what it's talking about. Let's move on. Proverbs chapter 6 now. Let's go down to 24. It says, Proverbs 6:24, to keep thee from an evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Proverbs 6:24. Is this strange woman is talking about a non-Israelite woman, or is talking about an Israelite woman that is a stranger to the community of being virtuous? Which one? It's talking about an Israelite woman that is a stranger to the community of being virtuous. Pretty much like this. That's your Proverbs 6:24. It ain't got nothing to do with no white woman, Chinese woman, Japanese woman, African woman in terms of being a strange woman. Ain't got nothing to do with that. This is a strange woman. This is an Israelite alienated strange woman because she chooses to be alienated from the commonwealth of being virtuous and keeping God's commandments. So this is talking about basically an Israelite woman that look like this today. I'm gonna open your eyes up. An Israelite woman that look like this today. She's basically fulfilling the role of a whore. Proverbs 6:24. And she's considered strange because she's not virtuous. See that? Proverbs 6:25. Lust not after her beauty in thy heart. That's talking about an Israelite man. It's telling an Israelite man not to lust after an Israelite whore, which are strayed away from the commonwealth of Israel. You see that? Lust not after her beauty in your heart. The heart is the mind, man. Labab in Hebrew, which means the mind. So lust not after this stranger, still an Israelite woman, but she ain't keeping the covenants. for an Israelite man is keeping the covenants. Lust not after her. Sometimes that's hard as hell to do, man. Especially when the flesh want to do his own thing. Lust not after her beauty in thy heart. Neither let her take thee with her eyelids, because she'll do that. You already know. She'll get you, boy. You feel me? I've been a victim many times. I've been a victim many times to this. You see, so pretty much to wrap it up, that's talking about an Israelite woman that is strange to the community of being virtuous. Not an Israelite foreigner woman, biological heathen woman. All right? All right, now guys, we are in Psalms 54, 54th chapter. The chief musician of Negod, if I'm saying that right. All right? Mastiel, a psalm of David. This is a psalm of David. This is the account of David when the Ziphims came and said to Saul, does not David hide himself with us? Save me, O God, by thy name, and judge me by thy strength. So you had these Ziphims that snitched David out. And they told King Saul, because King Saul was looking for David at that time, because we know that Saul became bitter and jealous of David and wanted to have David's head. So these Ziphims that David was hiding among snitched David out, told King Saul where he was. And David was praying to the Most High. He said, oh God, save me, you know, from my enemies, man. Now watch this. Psalms 54. Before we go to Psalms 54 and 2, we need to go to 1 Samuel 23 and 19. Because we know that David, when the Ziphims came and said to Saul, does not David hide himself with us? Save me, O God, by thy name, and judge me by thy strength. Psalms 54 and 2. Hear my prayer, O God. Give ear to the words of my mouth. Psalms 54 and 3. Wait a minute. We're going to get into it. Psalms 54 and 3. For strangers are risen up against me, and oppressors seek after my soul. They have not set God before them. Salah. So when David mentions in Psalms 54 and 3, strangers have risen up against me. Was it these strangers considered to be in the red box? Was it heathen strangers? Was it strangers such as Chinese, Japanese, East Indians, Arabs, and Africans, and white people? Was it these strangers, or was it strangers of David's own nation? Thus dealing with the nation of Israel. Was it his own brothers that was trying to kill him? And Psalms 54 and 3, these strangers are David's own brothers that's trying to kill him. Better yet, like I said, these strangers are Israelite strangers, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And Psalms 54 and 3, those are the strangers that have risen up against David. Not biological heathens, not the strangers in the red box. Not the white man, not the East Indians, not the Arabs, not the Africans, not the Japanese and Chinese. Not those strangers, but David's own brothers. And we're going to show you this. Okay? They treated David as he did. They treated David as he didn't even belong to their nation. So he called them strangers, even though they was his brothers. We'll show you this easily, man. So let's go back to Psalms 54 and 1. And let's deal with these Ziphims that came and snitched David out and told King Saul where David was. Who in the hell are these Ziphims here? Let's go to 1 Samuel 23 and 19. 1 Samuel 23 and 19. And let's get the real account. Because let's go back into the history and see what the hell is going on. So we go into 1 Samuel 23 and 19. Then came up the Ziphites to Saul, to Gibeah, saying, does not David hide himself with us? See, that's what Psalm 54 and 1 was talking about. Does not David hide himself with us in strongholds in the wood and the hill of Hekal, which is on the south of Jesmon? So now, let's deal. Who in the hell are the Ziphites? You see, we're going to figure out 1 Samuel 23 and 20. Now therefore, O king, come down according to all the desire of thy soul to come down. And our part shall be to deliver him into the king's hand. 1 Samuel 23 and 21. And Saul said, blessed be ye of the Lord, for ye have compassion on me. So we got to figure out in 1 Samuel 23 and 19 who are the Ziphites that David was hiding among to escape King Saul. Watch this. Let's go into Ziphites. Watch this, guys. 1 Samuel 23 and 19. Let's go into the concordance now. All right, I'm going to show you just dealing with Israelite strangers. I'm going to show you. Ziphites. Take notes, guys. Lesson about over with.
Strong's H 2130. Zeph. Zeph.
All right, you see that? Let's go into it. Okay, going down. Zephites, smelters, an inhabitant of Ziph. All right, Ziphites, smelters, the inhabitant of a region called Ziph. Now watch this. Watch this. Let's go back. And now let's go to we was in 1 Samuel 23:19. Let's go up to verse 14. Skip up a little bit. 1 Samuel 23:14. And David abode in the wilderness in strongholds, and remained in a mountain in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul sought him every day, but God delivered him not into his hand. 1 Samuel 23:15. And David saw that Saul was coming out, Saul come out to seek his life. And David was in the wilderness of Ziph in a wood. So he was hiding in the wilderness of Ziph. He was hiding among the Ziphites because King Saul was trying to have David's head. Now King Saul was a Benjamite. All right? So King Saul was from the tribe of Benjamin, which was a Hebrew Israelite, which was one of David's brothers. And you had one of David's own brothers was trying to kill David. David was from the tribe of Judah, and you had one of David's own brothers trying to kill him, right? Now watch this. Watch this, guys. So verse 14 tells you that David abode in the wilderness in strongholds, and remained in the mountains in the wilderness of Ziph. So now let's go into 1 Samuel 23 and 14. 1 Samuel 23 and 14. And let's go to Ziph. Don't figure out. Let's go to Ziph, which is Hebrew 2128 or Hebrew 2128, however you want to say it.
Strong's H 2128. Zeph. Zeph.
Okay, so David was in the wilderness, hiding of Ziph, hiding in Ziph or the wilderness. Okay, let's go into Ziph. We showed you. Let's go into that. Ziph means battlement. Ziph. What does that say? A son of Jehalelel, a descendant of Judah, and brother of Ziph. So who are the Ziphites? The Ziphites are the descendants of Judah, man. The Ziphites is Israelite, Hebrew Israelites. Ziph means battlement. Now who are, it says, a son of Jehalelel. Ziph was a son of Jehalelel, a descendant of Judah, and a brother of Ziph. So who are the Ziphites? Who are these Ziphites David was hiding among? They are his own kind. They are his own brothers. These Ziphites was Judites, just like King David was a Jew. And when David was hiding among these Ziphites, they snitched David out. They told King Saul that David was hiding among them. So this is David's own brothers, man, that snitched him out to King Saul which was a Benjamite from the same nation of Israel, to try to have David killed. That shows you right there, man. David's own brothers try to have him killed, man. You can see it clearly. So when you go back to Psalms 54, man, when you go back to Psalms 54 and 1, it says, the chief musician of Negat, Maskil, a son of David, when the Ziphims came and snitched David out, the Ziphims came and told King Saul that David was hiding among them. Them Ziphims was the sons of Ziph, which was the Judite. So David's own brother snitched him out to have him killed. Try to tell King Saul, which was a Benjamite from the same nation of Israel. All these are the same nation. And David's own brother tried to have him killed, man. This is why Psalm 69 and 8. Psalm 69 and 8. A Psalm of David. What he says in Psalm 69 and 8. He says, I am become a stranger into my brethren, and an alien into my mother's children, because they treated David like he was not one of their own kind. So guess what, guys? When you come across stranger in the Bible, it does not when you come across stranger in the Bible, it does not always denote that strangers are non-Israelite people, such as Chinese, Japanese, Africans, East Indians, Arabs, and so forth. It does not always denote that strangers is counted as non-Israelite people when you come across stranger in the Bible. It doesn't always point to the ones in the red box. This can be an Israelite stranger as well, as we don't showed you. Israelite strangers in the land, man. So David's own brother was trying to kill him. But he didn't call them his brothers. He didn't call them his Hebrew Israelite brothers. He had no start calling them his enemies. Last but not least, he say in Psalm 69 and 8, he say, I am become a stranger unto my brother, and an alien unto my mother's children. So strangers and aliens in the Bible does not always point to biological actual heathens. It does not, guys. It does not, man. Okay, I'm going to show you. So let's go to Psalms 55. Psalms 55 and 12. Psalms 55 and 12 says, for it was not an enemy that approached me, then I could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me, that did magnify himself against me. Then I would have hid myself from him. Psalms 55:13. But it was thou, a man, my equal, my guide, and my acquaintance. Okay? When he said, now who he's talking about? He's talking about King Saul. David is talking about King Saul. But it was thou. It was thou. Talking about King Saul. A man, my equal. Why he says a man, my equal? Because King Saul was from the same nation as David. He was from the nation of Israel. He just was from a different tribe. King Saul was from the tribe of Benjamin, which would be so-called Jamaicans today. But it was a man, but thou was a man of my equal, of my same nation. My guide and my acquaintance. You see? So King Saul pretty much kind of made himself a stranger in the eyes of David, also his enemy. Because he took counsel to kill his own brother from his own nation. So King Saul, in the beginning, was one of David's brothers as a Hebrew Israelite. But in the end, King Saul became an enemy or alien or a stranger to David. You see? That's why we're going over this Israelite strangers in the land. So guys, I don't have too much to say after this. Like I said, I hope I explained myself pretty well to you in terms of breaking this lesson down. Not myself, but I hope I explained the scriptures in terms of Israelite strangers and the differentiation among strangers. Like Ruth. Because we can go into that account We can go into that account dealing with Ruth, man. Ruth was an Israelite. And she was considered a stranger to Boaz because she was from a totally different tribe. Even though Ruth was an Israelite, she was from the tribe of Reuben, man. Ruth was from the tribe of Reuben, and Boaz was from the tribe of Judah. You see? And so she was known as a stranger to Boaz because she was labeled from a different tribe. And also, you have to read about that history on how I believe 3 of the tribes had conquered the land of Moab and took it over. You see, but anyways, guys, I hope this was pretty much explanatory to you. Solid Foundation Israelite Academy 2019. This lesson has approximately been 1 hour and 5 minutes and some seconds. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video with family and friends and edify these brothers. Wake up the lost sheep, which are the house of Israel, Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Wish you all good pieces and tidings and blessings. Till next time, peace.